Hi guys, this is Superior. Making a quick little video about our raids here. As we all know that yesterday we, didn't really make it. We had a tier 5 raid that was ready to be finished before our refresh, and it was not. I just wanted to, give everybody a good informational guide here on what's going on with the raids, as I myself only like watching videos when I have time, by these top streamers such as like Cozy and SHD Games. So having somebody from your own club that doesn't make an hour-long video do one of these, I think could be very beneficial. So first things first with raids, and keep in mind, I'm still learning myself. This is my first mobile game that I've ever gotten into, so it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of learning. But with the raids themselves, you want to kind of get these done before your refreshes, and the reason why I say that is because, for example, yesterday we didn't finish it before the refresh, and that stopped us from finishing our raid that we started the day prior and starting a new one. And then once the refresh hit, the one that we were still currently trying to defeat got finished off in like one hit, and nobody else could use their hits beyond that point because there was no other raid to attack. And as you can see, since we finished it, it makes us wait until 6 hours from this current moment in time to start another one. And what that does essentially is it stops us from getting in more attempts to earn these rewards. And I know everybody wants Ursula. Who doesn't? She's phenomenal. Probably most likely one of the best, one of the best characters in this game. So first things first, you're not going to have a roster full of people or characters that are going to be able to do this crazy amount of damage that you guys are seeing us pull off. Now, the one thing I'm going to start off with is the characters that you want to use. Right now, you guys keep seeing us say Barley Who team. That's because Barley himself used to be very beneficial in these raids, mainly just because of the fact that his, I don't know how to say it, Guinevere, I don't know. That move right there would go ahead and take away the instant kill from the raid boss. That has been nerfed. That really doesn't work too well anymore. Not to the point that it did. So you kind of have to, go from the top streamers from there and see what they're saying about it. And from there, we've came up with Baymax, Hero, Honey Lemon, Cobra Bubbles, and either someone like Stitch or Sven or even Moana. Those are going to be the top raid characters at this moment in time. And if you're going to use Baymax, Hero, and Honey Lemon, let's say we're going to use Stitch, you're going to be utilizing Stitch's basic to build up those defense downs. What that's going to do is allow that raid boss to have more critical damage applied to him when you go to use the blue punch buggy. And since we don't have Barley, you kind of want to use Honey Lemon's basic, and you want to use Cobra Bubble's basic to keep slowing down the raid boss himself. And then, from there, the stare down, you'll utilize that when it's appropriate, and then you'll go ahead and keep passing the ticket to either like Sven or Stitch or Moana in that case scenario. The spells that you're going to want to use are either, I'm not going to say either, I'm going to go with Conjuring Cauldron and the Peter's Shadow. You're going to want to utilize those. More so your Cauldron potion thingy. But, if you're going to use the Shadow, and say you're using Sven, you're gonna want to build up Sven's critical, buff on him before you actually use that Shadow. So I say you get about, 20 to 25 criticals put on Sven beforehand, and then you go ahead and use your Shadow on it. Don't use your Shadow right away as soon as you get it, because there's no point. You want to have as much criticals on that as possible. That way you can continue doing damage to the raid boss, even when he's, you know, wiping out your entire team. Now, say you don't have Baymax, and you weren't fortunate enough to have Baymax. Some good substitutes for Baymax are, number one, Merlin. Because Baymax's big thing is that he has AoE cleanses, and that's what you're really looking for. Is you want an AoE cleanse, and that indeed is what Merlin has with his Use Your Head ability. You also got Pocahontas now. Since the wilds were buffed, her ability that does the AoE cleanse is going to be Colors of the Wind, and it's actually pretty good because it'll send like a pretty good damaged hit when you do it. And if you're in PvPs or you're doing tournaments, anything like that, I think it'll silence them. If not silence them, it'll do some other weird, debuff. But I apologize in advance. My dog is just on one at the moment all morning. Trying to think of what else I can go over here. If not that, the only real person that you can use besides those people that have a cleanse, and I highly doubt a lot of you guys have them because I only virtually have them because I paid for it, but it's going to be Goofy, and his moving day special will go ahead and cleanse one harmful effect from each teammate. So there's really nothing else you can really do about that. That would be the main team that I would stick with, and everything else from there you just kind of piece together based off strategy. But you want to utilize your forfeits during a raid. Your forfeits are very important because if you start a raid and the raid boss has a really high speed meter, meaning that his attack is coming up before you can at least get a couple in, you need to forfeit that match. Go on ahead and forfeit it, and you'll still have all those characters accessible to you, just no turns. Then you'll go ahead and just start another one. From there, I'm just going to go with placements here, and and you guys can do this too. I always like doing this. You can actually go to one of your club members here and challenge them and practice squads that you would not normally use and get a good feel of their abilities. But the way you want to set up for a raid with this team is Baymax in the middle. You're going to want Honey Lemon on the back left, Cobra Bubbles on the front left. You're going to want Stitch on the back right, and then you're going to Hero on the front right. Now, this is the way I would set it up. So say you weren't going to use Stitch, say you were going to go and use Sven. Put Sven in that exact same spot, because this spot in the raid tends to be the last person, pretty much tends to be the last character that gets killed. And, for your spells, you're going to put your Calderon as 1, and then your Shadow as number 2. And this will be the main setup throughout the entire raid for each opponent, in my opinion. I think there might be different setup. No, you know what? Scratch that. This is only for, in my opinion, this is the only for Glut and the Eels. I can only find success with this positioning with those two raid bosses. But from there, I really wish I had another raid for us to go through. Let me try showing you an example here. I'll start up against Magic Gee, and I'll try to see if I can't get my guys to kind of just show you how to build this stuff and slow down the raid boss. Let's go ahead, I'll turn this up fast. So, as you can see here, with Hero, you're going to want to take his one spell here and give it the Bubbles, and then Bubbles, you're going to take the ticket and give it to Stitch. And you're going to use Honey Lemon, always use her slow. In this case scenario, we're likely going to get purged, so you really don't want to use Baymax's taunt just yet, just use that. Or you can use, I always go with his basic, and then you use his cleanse. Then you go here. And then now this is the key point, and this is what you're going to have to do. Keep using Stitch's basic to continue building up these defensive downs, and you can build those up. I built them up to one point at like 80 defensive downs on Gluck, and then when you go on ahead and you do his sedan, when he throws his sedan car, it'll do way more damage than what it normally would. See? So I'm gonna go ahead and just end this. I can't actually, so if you guys have any questions, just let us know, and you know, I'll be glad to help you out.